Hi, everyone, and a very, very, very warm welcome to this Saving Angel Sharks live lesson, which we are doing with the wonderful Ocean Census. So, without further ado, let's cross over all the way to Tenerife to meet Daniel from the Ocean Census, and we'll find out all about what we're going to be doing, how we're going to be learning. And I think then we can connect also to Hexa, a wonderful, wonderful angel shark expert who will tell us about the fantastic work the Angel Shark Project are doing. But let's go and meet Daniel first, who's going to tell us a little bit about the Ocean Census, and then we'll dive into some shark knowledge. Daniel, can you hear us?
I can. Hello, everybody.
Wonderful to have you with us. Daniel, before we get into our sharky bit of the lesson, perhaps you could tell us a little bit about the ocean census, what it is, and why it's important.
Absolutely. So, Ocean Census is a global project to try and discover new species in our ocean. And we have bringing scientists from all over the world. We're currently here in Tenerife. Some of our young people watching may have been there on holiday. Tenerife, we may think of it as a normal place, but actually, wherever we look in the ocean, there are new species to discover. So we brought scientists from Europe, submarine pilots from North America, and we're gathering them all here, and we're doing submersible dives down into the deep sea. We're doing technical divers, scuba divers going down and collecting samples, bringing all those samples back to our laboratories where our scientific team are studying them in an aquarium, looking at them under microscopes to try and discover new species.
And Daniel, some of the most iconic species in our ocean are sharks. And I think we're going to do a couple of things. First of all, we're going to do a shark spotting quiz. And then I think we have a little bit of a shark numbers quiz. So two quizzes to get us going. Uh, so let's move on to section one of the live lesson. We are going to be doing some shark spotting. So in your classes, you should all have a shark spotting guide all about sharks. That student sheet there. And what Daniel and myself, what we're going to do is we're going to show you some clips of sharks and see if you can identify what type of shark it is. Daniel, and we talked before. You got some. I think they're pretty good idea. Good spread of different sharks there. Some might be easy, some might be a bit tricky. So we'll just let you get settled, and then we'll show you the first clip, and then just let's see what you think, and then we can let you know afterwards what that was. So let's roll the first clip, give you about 20-30 seconds to try and guess. Okay, so I wonder what your guesses are. I wonder what you're guessing in the classrooms, all the amazing classes watching. Daniel, can you tell us what type of shark was in that first clip?
Absolutely. That first shark was the great white shark.
Amazing. And a great white shark, lots and lots of teeth going on there. What's is it a
Absolutely.
normal amount of teeth? Definitely more than me.
A huge number of teeth, several hundred teeth in a great white shark. And what's amazing about sharks' teeth is that they get new ones all throughout their life. So as soon as they have worn down from eating too many fish or sea lions, sometimes in this case, they fall out and they get a new one in its place.
Okay, brilliant. So let's get the second shark clip up now. Okay. Daniel, what have we got here? It looks very, very different in terms of its mouth shape from the great white. What's this one?
This one is the basking shark. Basking sharks are incredible animals, bigger than a great white, look very similar from above water, but as you said, Jamie, when you look underneath, a very different mouth. Basking sharks, second largest type of shark, but feed on the smallest animals living in our ocean, the tiny plankton.
Wow. And where do you find? I know these are all shark species that we find in the ocean behind you, but where else might you find a basking shark?
Well, this is what's amazing. Basking sharks are found in the UK waters during the summer. So as it warms up and summer comes and lots of plankton, those tiny animals bloom in our ocean, that's great food for basking sharks. So they travel up to the UK and have some really good meals on the plankton there.
Brilliant. Thank you, Daniel. Before we go to our next shark, just a really big hello to Maya, who's joined this live lesson. We've got a couple of shout outs. And also we've got Miss Rosenstein's class in Ardsley, New York. So great to have you with us. And do put in the chat how you're getting on. I want to know how many sort of 2 out of 2s and maybe sort of like even more, full marks towards the end. So I'd love to know that. But let's play our next shark clip. I think that's probably quite an easy one. So even if you hadn't got the first two, I think that's probably quite an easy one. What one was that, Daniel?
Yeah, absolutely. This one's so iconic and easily recognizable. This is the hammerhead shark, so called because of that hammer shape on its head.
And Daniel, two things I want to ask you. First, can you teach classes how you do a dive sign for a hammerhead shark? So communicating underwater when you're diving and you can't talk, but you want to say that's a hammerhead shark. How would you sign that to a buddy diver?
So this is a tough one because it depends who you train to dive with. And I'm a British diver, so I never get to see these, unfortunately. But we do have the universal sign for shark. So I would just do this and then point towards where the shark was. Mhm. Ah, there we are. Okay.
Brilliant, brilliant. And then why this shape? What's going on there? Do we know?
Yeah, so this we have some theories. We think it helps their sensitivity for detecting electrical fields within the water column to help them find prey by spreading out those sensors over a wider area.
Brilliant. Should we try? We'll go for one more shark just to see whether we can get any 4 out of 4s going on. So the last shark film coming up right now. Brilliant. And so final shark, Daniel. Tell us what that one is. It looked a bit different.
Yeah, very strange looking shark, this one. This was the beautiful angel shark.
And I know Hector's going to tell us heaps about the angel shark in a bit, but I mean those are found where you are, and can you just tell us sort of one little fact about the angel shark?
Facts about the angel shark, we actually know relatively little, but I'm not going into too much detail because Hector's going to give us all of that detail later on.
But another shark that you find sort of right behind you at the moment.
Absolutely, yes. We've seen them in these waters.
Brilliant. Um, I want to know how many of you got four or four. That 4 out of 4. Fantastic to introduce just those different sharks and little nuggets of information about them. Um, what we're going to do now is going to move on to the next section, and the next section is just a little quiz. So what we're going to do is, if you can get that student sheet out in front of everybody, and then what I'm going to ask is, we're actually going to give you a good couple of minutes, just as a class to discuss. So there's 4 numbers, which you can see on screen shortly, and then on your sheets you've got 4 sets of sentences, and all you have to do is match uh, one of those numbers to one of those sentences. Use all of them only once and just have a discussion in pairs or as a whole class and see whether you can get the right numbers for the right sentences. And in a couple of minutes, we will review that. Daniel will take you through what all of the right answers are. So, a couple of minutes, and we'll be back with you. So I wonder how you got on. Just finishing off now and seeing which numbers go with which sentence. When I was looking at this, I think there's quite surprising some of the numbers for me. And let's go for the first sentence, and that is the number of sharks that are killed by humans each year. Daniel, I think is it 100 million
It
sharks
is
killed?
indeed, yeah. 100 million sharks by our best estimates. And most of those sharks are killed through different types of fishing out in the open ocean, particularly types of fishing that are targeting some of the big fish that we eat, like tunas, and they're caught as accidental catch in those fisheries.
And just for our sort of own interest, I mean, what does that mean for shark numbers and I mean, can how long can this go on for?
Well, quite simply, Jamie, it can't keep going on like this. Sharks are very slow growing, slow reproducing. They don't have huge numbers of young like some other fish species do. So it takes a long time to replace those numbers, and they simply can't sustain losing 100 million a
And then there's the second question we had was a number of fatalities from shark attacks each year, and I know that very very um, tragic, but we I think we're influenced by what we see in films and other types of media. So in 2022, I mean, what was the figure that we have for the number of reported fatal shark attacks?
So for number reported, it's 9, which, although, as you say, very, very tragic, is a relatively low number compared to many other things that can cause human deaths in the world. And the one that we often sort of compare to sharks is the number of people killed by falling vending machines. And that's often larger than the number of shark fatalities each year.
And in terms of sort of like media, you know, do you think they have a, we could talk about Jaws as a big film and maybe more modern one, Sharknado and the Meg. Um, does that harm sharks, do you think?
I think absolutely it does because people trust the media and films that they see, and they are often depicted as these monsters of the ocean, and they're not. They are beautiful, graceful animals. Sure, they should be respected as wild animals, but they are beautiful.
And Daniel, we've got this next question, which is around the number of shark species there are. We touched on, four different shark types in our little shark spotting quiz. But how many? What's our best estimate on the number of shark species or number of shark species we've found?
Yes, so far 536 shark species, but scientists keep finding new ones every year, particularly in the deep ocean, which is where I'm a specialist. We keep finding new species of shark.
Amazing. I mean, this year, I mean, I don't want to put, I'm going to put you on the spot. Well, I said I don't want to put you, I'm going to put you on the spot. Like in the past year or so, how many new shark species have we identified or described?
I know of at least two that are being described currently from colleagues, and I think it is sort of a handful each year of new shark species.
Amazing, amazing. And then the last one, when did sharks appear on our planet? When did they evolve? What's the I know we've got a picture of dinosaurs for this. What's going on there, Daniel?
Yeah, so in that image, you can see the Brachiosaurus, and we know that they came from a long time ago, from the Jurassic period, about 150 million years ago. But actually, sharks have been around for over 200 million years already by that point. So we're looking at about 400 million years ago that sharks first evolved. And what's really interesting is we think that sharks evolved in freshwater, in swamps, and then moved out into the ocean.
And that's amazing to think of the durability of the shark. And I don't know how much, they've changed over that time, but over 400 million years, seen the dinosaurs come and go and still in our ocean.
Absolutely. And when we look at fossil sharks, a lot of them are very similar to sharks we see today. They've just evolved into a winning formula, a body type that works for living in the ocean, and they are perfect predators.
Daniel, thank you so much for giving us that amazing introduction, showing us some of these really wonderful, graceful animals to start with, and then taking us through some facts. I know you're coming back for the Q&A, so looking forward to that. But we're going to see if we can connect to Hector, who I know is on a different part of the island. So you just run back from doing his research to join this live lesson. So seeing if we can now connect to Hector. Are you there?
Hi, Amy. Yeah, thanks for having me. A pleasure to be here with you.
Hector, thank you so much for coming on and talking about the Angel Shark project. Daniel very kindly didn't steal your thunder by telling us a lot about angel sharks. Before we get into the science you are doing and you and the team are doing, could you tell us a little bit about angel sharks? What are they?
Yes, of course. I love what Daniel said. They are strange but beautiful sharks. Angel sharks are a flat-bodied shark that have this unique appearance that can remember a little bit to a ray. They have like these broad pectoral fins that they have adopted for living in the bottom of the ocean floor, and they are called angel because they have like this body shape that can be like a bit like a flat angel with these wide wings that they use for hiding in the sand.
Amazing. And so the angel sharks, what kind of sort of behavior do they have? You talked a little bit about being flat, living on the bottom. is there a sort of like some typical behaviors that we might see from them?
Yeah, that's not too much that we know about angel shark, but what we know is that they use these large pectoral fins to bury themselves on the sand, on the substrate, leaving only eyes and a bit of the body exposed. So after they are totally buried, they ambush predators. So they use these bodies and these strong wings to hunt the prey. They are like we say like underwater ninjas because they are super fast for catching the prey.
I love that underwater ninja expression. So just to, I mean, pectoral fins are the other are the sort of fins attached to the chest area of a fish or a shark. And then using those to sort of burrow in and then that amazing ambush. And the video you shared with me of that's slow motion ambush is terrifying.
Yeah, they are really fast, but is have they become the best hunters around here in the Canary Island and a really iconic shark that we have.
And you mentioned they're in the Canary Islands, and I think you also when we spoke before this live lesson that there's different species of angel shark. I think we've got a map of the squatina, if I got that my pronunciation, the Latin name for the particular angel shark that you're working on. Where
Exactly.
where have they been found? Where are they found?
So as you said, we have 23 different species of angel sharks. Likely we have three in Europe and only one of them in the Canary Island. And exactly, it's Squatina. Squatina is the Latin name of this species that can only be seen on an easy way on the Canary Islands.
And has the range gone down? I was trying to interpret the map looking at it. I think we've got green bits and purple bits, and of where they have or haven't been.
Yeah, exactly. So in the past, they were from the UK, all on the coast of Europe, Mediterranean Sea, into Africa, into the Canary Islands. Because all of the threats that Daniel was telling us before, population have had a really hard decline. So the only part on the world that we can find them in an easy way is in the Canary Island. That have been the biggest stronghold for them.
So that's the main sort of last decent population there.
Yeah, exactly. That we know of, at least, yes.
And one of the things that I found super sad was this and I know that Daniel talked about sort of like fishing for larger fish, but there's also this bottom trawling because I know these wonderful creatures live, as you said, on the substrate, the seabed, the sea floor, and there's this type of fishing called bottom trawling, which just breaks my heart when you shared that cartoon animation.
Yeah, trolling have been the major threat for angel sharks and their habitat around all the natural distribution. Likely because how the Canary Islands are volcanic islands, really deep around the islands. This kind of fishing activity is really hard to do and is banned. So that's one of the reasons that why Canary Islands have been a biggest point for them.
Well,
But also
that
human activity and environmental change have been a major threat for them. Yeah.
Hector, well, that's great news to hear of at least that one action. And talking about action, the Angel Shark project's working throughout Europe and perhaps beyond. But you're working on the Canary Islands bit. But tell us a little bit about, the overarching work that the group is doing.
So we are really focused on conservation. Conservation for angel sharks, our main focus. That involves habitat protection, like establishing marine protected areas, and also the regulation of threats, especially of fishing practice as our main objective. And we try to raise awareness about endangered shark conservation and especially engage with local community because it's like the main way to get the perfect protection for endangered sharks.
And science and understanding angel sharks is seems to be an important role in this. So we understand an animal better, we can better protect it. You've got this lovely sequence of short videos looking at how actually that you've been sort of some of the science involved in studying angel sharks. And I know that there's 5 steps you shared with us. If you could share that with classes, that would be absolutely amazing. I think the first one was actually just catching them in the first place.
Yeah, I will say like the first one is to find them because they are really, really hidden in the sand. So that's the most difficult part sometimes. So if we are lucky and we can spot one of them, we first get everybody prepared. We approach to the shark, and what we put is a kind of cage that we call over the shark. It's a really light cage we put on them, and then we work over the tail of the shark. This is a really, really fast process. I will say under a minute or 30 seconds. So the process is we add ID tag, color coded and number coded to each shark, and we get a genetic sample. So with this process, we can know a bit of endangered sharks' behavior, to try to know a bit of the distribution, the structure of the population also. And with all this, try to have the conservation strategies correct for the population.
And so the tagging piece, what's the use of a tag? Is that like a tracker that allows you to see where these sharks go?
The ones that we are seeing on this video, they have two kind of codes. A color code, so each island of the Canary Island have one specific color, and a number. Each shark will have a specific number. Then we use divers, citizen science, people using the ocean, and if they see a shark, and if they see a shark with a tag, they can report that tag to us, so we'll know if the sharks are moving between islands, they are moving from one part of the island to another part of the island, and try to know a bit how the population is doing.
And then the second thing I can see you're taking is that a genetic or a small sample for genetic studies?
Yeah, exactly. We take a really, really, really small part of the fin, like 3 or 4 millimeters, and then we analyze the genetics. What can we know with that? We have the ID that rely on citizen science, but because it's really, really hard to see the angel shark because they are totally buried, we have the genetic. With the genetic, we can also know if the families are related, how many families we have in, for example, Tenerife, how many families we have in Canary Islands, and have a broad view of the population.
And then you've got the measuring piece, and that's probably important as well to understand the maturity, the age of as well of the different populations.
Yeah, so we try to study adults and we try to study juveniles. We know they use different zones inside the Canary Islands. So when we measure sharks, we know if how big is a female, how big is a male, and then we know a bit about adults. We know a bit about juveniles, but we don't know anything about these adolescents. We don't know where they are. They are hiding somewhere, and we are trying to know a bit more about that kind of size of sharks.
You're saying adolescent teenager sharks are out hiding somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. And what I've always find fascinating, Hector, talking to you is this link between sort of science and then conservation. How important is it, and really to classes, why do I study science? You're applying science to helping angel sharks. can you just tell us sort of one or two ways in which that happens?
Yes, obviously the science is the point that from where we work on. So we have the tracking studies, the genetic research, the ecological studies, but all this science is integrated for having a conservation efforts with the hope of the recovery of endangered shark population. So the role of science in the endangered shark conservation is for inform and make the decision making a collaborative effort between science, authorities, and everybody involved in the shark community. Also, we
Actually,
work a lot. Sorry.
no, no, tell me more. Tell me more about this. I was going to ask you about the working more.
Yeah, we also try to increase the awareness. And as Daniel was saying, if people get involved, if people knows more about sharks and get into the conservation and know that they can be part of the change, they will be really able to work with us.
Uh, I love it, Hector. As a pre-Christmas angely message of hope, science and conservation hope from the Canary Islands with the angel sharks. It warms my heart. But we have a lot of questions coming in from our classes. So I'm going to have to pull you both back, Daniel and Hector, to try to get through some of these. Uh, I please do, if you put in questions, do try and sort of vote other people's questions too using the thumbs up icon, and we'll try and go through the most popular questions first. But we've got this first question, Hector. I think this is probably for you. Is how do you monitor something in the ocean that's nocturnal, that's sort of out and about during nighttime?
Actually, that's a really, really good question because it was one of our main concerns at the beginning. We work by night, especially looking for the babies. We have to work by night because it's the only way to find them.
And brilliant. And this is again for you, Hector. This is from Freddie, who would like to know how fast can an angel shark swim?
Hi, Freddy. Thanks for the question. Faster than us, for sure. When we see them and if they are swimming away. We have never tried to catch them because they are really fast.
Brilliant. Thank you. Daniel, coming up for you. Charlie would love to know, do sharks eat other sharks?
Hi, Charlie. Yes, other sharks do eat other sharks. It's not their usual prey. They prefer a nice juicy fish, but sometimes they'll take whatever's going.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. I've got here. Actually, I'm going to leap across. I've got from class 6 at SSSJ for Hector. What is the lifespan of an angel shark?
Oh, that's a really good question and really hard to know the specific lifetime. But we know they are about 30, 35, 40 years is more or less what we know.
Amazing. So there's still a question out there to answer. So plenty of questions to answer for budding scientists in class.
Yeah, for sure.
Daniel, one for you. Just to put you on the spot. For this from Caitlin, who would love to know: does a basking shark ever close its mouth?
I go, yes, it does. And even though basking sharks feed on tiny little animals, they do have teeth. They're just also very, very tiny. They do close their mouth.
Brilliant. Hector, coming back to you. This is from Joey, who would love to know which ocean has the most angel sharks, or where do we find the most angel sharks in the world?
That's a really nice question. I will say like, especially the place in California, we have Squatina californica, have a lot of sharks around there. And also in Japan, we have Squatina japonica, it's another species. And that I will say like that are biggest population.
Okay, so 'cause Joey, you're heading off to California or Japan for the biggest populations, or coming out to see Hector in the Canary Islands. Where are we next? Another one for you, Hector. This is from Delilah, who would love to know, why do they bury themselves? What's the point of that?
To ambush the prey. So any prey cannot see them. They are swimming around and messing around. And when they are ready and the prey goes there, they ambush them.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. I was just laughing at this next question, Daniel, which is about to read you. This is from Ava. It's a great question. How do people get those video clips without being eaten? So I think just, and also have you been, just to add to this, Ava, have you been in the swam with sharks? Have you been in the water with sharks?
That is a great question. And yes, I've dived and swam with sharks many times. I've been very fortunate and lucky enough to do so. So with some sharks, they are not interested in humans at all. You can be in the water perfectly safe and just film them like you would any other fish. With some of the larger predatory species, like the great white, you perhaps have to take more precautions, and you might go down into the water in a cage and film them from a cage.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. This is a lovely question. This is from for Hector. This is from Gabe, which is, how deep do angel sharks go?
Hi, Gabe. Actually, we are trying to know that. Thanks to Ocean Census, we are getting more information about how they are using the deep part of the ocean. We know they are up to 150 meters using that kind of depth, but we need to know a bit more about that.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And Gabe, hope that answers your question. Hector, one more from you for you, which is, are angel sharks the most endangered shark in the world?
I will say that likely no. They are the third more threat family of sharks in the world. So we have more sharks that are more threat than angel sharks, but we have to work. They are full community, so threats are for all kind of sharks, and we try to have those communities work together.
And I think there's sort of like a follow-up question is really sort of from a couple of students is how can we help angel sharks make a comeback? And you've talked about a few: awareness, policy. Is there anything that students are in schools across Europe and the US? Is there something that what can you do even if you don't live in a community near these sharks?
I will say like the awareness of the situation that sharks are having, try to spread the word, I will say, of the situation that this group are having and the situation that the ocean is having right now.
So I mean, maybe giving a shark assembly, just maybe in the new year, just to give. I think they need a new agent, sharks, just to give them a sort of like a bit of an image of review. So maybe that's a job that some of you watching can help with. This coming through. This is Bright in Watford. We've had sort of, how long do angel sharks live for? There's lots of questions around the sort of like the sort of behavior, but sort of how sort of big is an angel shark? We've got a sort of sense, but how sort of long and heavy can they get?
Max length that the books have said it's 240 centimeters. That's quite long. For us working on them here in the Canary Islands, 160 centimeters. It's a really long female. Normally females are longer than males. And weight is really hard to know because we are working underwater with the sharks. But when we know from fishermen, like 40, 50 kilos is a really, really heavy shark.
Amazing. Thank you very much. We've got a question here from Shaza, which would be about attacked by an angel shark. Have you ever been attacked? Are attacks common?
No, I would say they are really, really uncommon. Divers dive with them all year round, all day long, and there's a few attacks a year, but have been like really, really small bites in a finger maybe. But that have been always when divers are not doing the best things over endangered sharks. They are really uh, positive and likely animals, so no, no attacks.
Brilliant. Thank you, Hector. Coming to you, Daniel. This is a sort of wider ocean census question from Natalia, which would be how many animals have you found? How many new species have you found?
Oh, that's a really good question. And we were doing a little bit of a sort of total just yesterday, trying to figure out, and we're not at the end yet, but already we think we have 17 new species from this expedition. We think we will have more given a few more weeks and months as scientists continue to work on those samples.
That absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. There's a really interesting question that's just come through, and it is from Keegan, and it maybe speaks to this lesson title and this idea of conservation. And it's, have you saved any angel sharks? Is conservation like you go and rescue individual animals? Like, you sort of think that, maybe there's some TV shows and you go and rescue something that's got tangled up, or is it broader than that, where you look at the big picture?
Uh, we could try to do both, actually. When possible, we try to help specific individuals if they get tangled in a net of fishermen or something like that. But we are trying to work in a broad conservation aspect inside the Canary Island. So trying to get the conservation following the right how to say decision making in a positive way. So that's our main focus.
And Hector, just the specific question was, have you personally rescued an individual angel shark?
Yeah, I have been luckily involved in a few of them.
Brilliant. Amazing. Amazing. We've got time for just one final question. And it's just to Daniel. This is from Shreya. Um, the question is, how do sharks adapt to ocean pollution? And perhaps they don't.
You've hit the nail on the head there, Jamie. They don't. For hundreds of millions of years, sharks have been around without pollution, with very clean seas. And all this has happened very, very quickly. And so plastic can get stuck inside them. If we're talking about chemical pollution, that screws in their bodies, they can't get rid of it. And so, unfortunately, it does kill sharks. And so, cleaning up our ocean is a real high priority.
Amazing. Daniel, thank you very, very much. And to both of you, both Hector and Daniel, it's been absolutely inspiring for me. I imagine it's been absolutely wonderful for the classes watching. You've introduced us to sharks, the overview of their existence on our planet and what's happening to them, the wonderful angel shark and the amazing work you and your colleagues are doing, Hector. It's been fantastic to hear about it. I'm inspired. I'm going to learn more about sharks. I'm definitely going to share my new idea of sharks with as many people as possible. I hope you do the same. Have a very happy Christmas if we don't see you on a lesson before then. Until the next time, it's a big, big thank you to all the classes watching, and a massive thank you to you two, to Daniel and Hector. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.